Welcome to the Turtle Talk podcast, folks. It is your host, Old Sun Sports, and we are co-hosted by John from Sideline Sports Network. It's a great episode 7. Can't believe we're 7 episodes deep already. We have I guess I'll say the interview first. Our guest today is Mr. Ratcliffe Thomas. He's an Indianapolis Colt. He was led the Terps in tackles 3 years in a row, and made a Pro Bowl for the Colts. He's a football coach in Virginia now. Great guest, really cool guy. But first, we talk basketball. Why we think the men's team can and can't make a deep run in the tournament. We're going to have a little back and forth about that. We're going to talk about the combine invites and where we think guys are going to how draft stock is looking. Then we're going to dive into non-revenue sports. Some news and notes. We are open to sponsorship partnerships. So we're looking for a title sponsor. So if that strikes a chord, send us an email, send us a tweet, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a nice YouTube channel set up, and if you want to watch the podcast live. Welcome back to Turtle Talk Podcast, Episode 7. It is your host, Old Sun Sports, and we are co-hosted by John from Sideline Sports Network. First, we're going to talk about men's basketball. Let's get to it. The last night, I guess we'll talk about last night's game first.
Yeah, we can discuss that game.
Pretty disappointing.
Disappointing. You can't win basketball games when you're shooting 11, 20. I don't know what we ended up with, but it was an abysmal percentage of points from the 3-point line, and that felt like the difference. Obviously, the 0 to 15 start was pretty bad.
Self-sabotage there.
Willard said in his post-game presser that they didn't really practice well, and that kind of lethargic nature carried over into the next game, and you could see it. But once they picked up, and I really, really like the fight of this team. I think we fought the whole way through. Losing Julian Reese, after he got his 4th, that definitely took wind out of our sails. But overall, I can't really be mad at an away game result like that, because away games in the Big Ten are impossible.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say I'm definitely not upset that we lost that game. It's always going to be hard to beat Michigan State in Michigan State, but we definitely could have played a little better, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 3 for 22. I pulled up right now. 3 for 22 from 3-point range. That's 13.6%. That's terrible. 40% from the field, that's terrible. We shot better from 2 than Michigan State did if you took away their threes and our threes.
Yeah.
We shot, around 5 or so percent better, but those 6 threes, we lost by 5 points?
Yeah, and aside from the early
that
run,
was pretty much the killer there.
I was going to say that game was there for the picking, and like I said, opportunities to beat Michigan State in East Lansing are hard to come by. So you want to seize the opportunity when you have it, and we didn't capitalize. But again, it's not hardly the end of the season or anything like that. It's just one game.
Oh yeah. I still think we have time to start our run. It's got to be, we got to start shooting better, and that's got to be soon. Don Carey cannot be 0 for 4.
Yeah.
He played 11 minutes yesterday, deservedly so.
Consistent Don Carey, yeah. Not streaky Don Carey.
Right. Don Carey needs to go to the bench, and we need to start Ian Martinez.
Yes, spice change things up a
That's
little. He's a little more high.
maybe he can be a spark off the bench.
Yeah. What? So what? What about Who was our other game last week again?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah, the Minnesota drubbing. That was satisfying.
Yeah, that. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised because Minnesota is the worst team. They were missing their worst player, but Julian Reese had a you know I feel
Epic
like
game for
Julian Reese
Reese.
keeps at this progression that he's going on throughout the rest of the season. I really do think you know we could be something in March.
Yeah, for sure.
What we've seen from Julian in the last month has just been nearly magical. He's completely done a 180 on his play, and it was started with Zach Edey. I don't know what about it, but Zach Edey flipped the switch in him.
Yeah. No, Julian Reese's development has been very promising, and he's I don't want to put the horse ahead of the cart, but um, I hope we have him back again for. I hope he comes back for a junior season, but because if he continues on the
Uh,
trajectory he's on,
yeah, I think he's back.
I think he's back, but
Unless he enters a transfer.
but you never know with 19-year-old guys like they and the well, I guess the NIL is kind of an equalizer these days, but you never know. But
We
I
better up our NIL game. We need all y'all to just start donating all your money so we can
yeah,
have a really good team next year.
for real. Bring Jameer Young back too.
Jameer Young, Hakeem Hart, even Dante Scott. He's been having some really good games, though he feels a little lost sometimes.
Yeah,
It feels like
he's a little more of an
he just
afterthought than he should
disappears.
be. Yeah, that's the way to say. He's I never knock Dante Scott. He's one of my favorite chirps of this decade, but like he if I were to complain about like he doesn't I guess assert himself enough in certain phases.
Yeah, it's the only time I really see him assert himself is when he's backing down little guys.
Yeah.
He just loves backing people down and doing that little jump hook he's got.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's the kind of the thought exercise we were going to do today is why this team can make a deep run into the tournament or why they're not. And I'm going to start off with why they're not. The obvious reason why they're not. I'll take the low hanging fruit. We're a little thin on the front line.
Yeah, that's an understatement. I'll take I'll start with the why not because it feels like that's a more likely scenario. The shooting,
It's
it's
easier to be
pretty
a
easy. It's
critic than
out
a.
there.
It's easier to be a critic than it is to be an optimist. But yeah, for sure. The shooting
Third
is too
worst,
streaky as well. Yes, the shooting is too streaky as well.
we have the third worst Power Five 3-point shooting percentage behind Auburn and Minnesota.
I did not know that
That
fact.
is
That is
that's abysmal.
that's pretty
It's
putrid,
pretty
yeah.
bad.
But yeah, you just you we I mean I'm not going to say we don't have like Julian Reese is definitely a quality big man, but Patrick Emilian's obviously the elephant in the room. He's great, but he's a little undersized and there isn't really much experience behind them.
Right, but I think when it comes to the NCAA tournament, Big Ten plays a very specific brand of basketball that's
Yes.
synonymous with big men. But when you get out into the
It's
real
less
world of the
important, yeah,
NCAA,
and it's less important in when you're playing on the national game, so to
so
say.
I think what's the most important thing for us is just Julian Reese not fouling out. CSR,
Yeah,
he's developing pretty well, but if you have Patrick Emilian on any big men, no matter what game you get, because right now we're hanging around the 7 to 10 range.
yeah,
That's a pretty rough range to be hanging in. Obviously love getting in the tournament, but that's upset city. That range where a 7, 10 can 10 all tens can beat a 7, all nines can beat the eights. So unless we can kind of get up in
Mm.
there and get like a 5 or a 6 seed, which I think it would take a win out situation. I think um, we need Reese to stay in.
Hmm. Well, I guess if we're gonna transition a little bit, we some pros. We have good veteran guard play. I think we're a pretty well coached team. I don't think how do I say this, that in game or the X's and O's we're not as disadvantaged as we have been in the past, just in terms of schematically during the games. But we um
Yeah,
we have good wing play, good guard play, good veteran. We have veteran guards. We have we have how do I say this? Like we have 6 or 7 guys who can put up like a good 15 or so point games. Like there's a good balance with this team.
absolutely. And I think one of the biggest, things that are on our side, although very limited sample size, we went to the Mohegan Sun tournament and we lit that place on fire.
Yeah,
That is our only evidence of a neutral site game. Sorry, we did have the Tennessee game.
that is
That was a
important.
neutral site.
Yeah, and the
But
Barclays Center too, dude. And yeah,
hmm, that was Tennessee, right?
oh yeah, shoot, yeah, that was yeah,
So we're not shooting well on the road. We're shooting well at home. If we can kind of hone it in and just not shoot, we can't shoot it as well at home. But I think if we can turn that shooting around, this team would be just, I think, deadly.
yeah,
We have, you said great guard play. Jameer Young is a ball dominant guard. Like,
yeah.
you know, you see teams that make runs in the tournament, they have that guard
That
that
senior
cements
guard, that or
himself.
veteran guard. Good shooting teams tend to fare well in March, but again, we're not a good shooting team, so that's the Achilles heel. Where relative to our undersize or lack of height, I think we rebound pretty well though.
Yeah. The rebound
But
numbers on Torvik, we are about middle of the pack in both rebounding percentages.
relative to us,
Um,
we don't have a Dennis Rodman, we don't have a Tim Duncan, we don't have a Shaquille O'Neal, we don't have a guy who's gonna pull in like 15 rebounds a game.
right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if we can just turn that switch for Donald Carey, if we can turn that switch on, that would that would be the
Yeah,
game changer, because when he's on and he's feeling himself, you can tell. That's the games that we
when he's
always win those
confident,
games.
he's I feel like mercurial. Like um when he's confident, he's going well. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the key to me, is getting Don Carey. And we have great guards, like I said, with Jameer Young, but also Akeem Hart, six
yeah.
foot nine.
Hakeem,
He
a
played point guard
veteran.
last year.
Hakeem Hart's a great player to have in March. A versatile player and a mismatch type
Long wing.
player. Yeah, mismatch type player. He's a good player to have in March for sure. So
Right.
Ian Martinez is a bit of a wild card, but that the thing with wild cards is there's upside to them.
Yeah, I think we play a different brand of basketball in the Big Ten, kind of
Yeah,
similar to
Ian
Penn
Martinez
State.
might flourish a bit more in playing not Big Ten basketball.
Yeah, because the lanes are crowded. If he can get a lane, I mean, you're gonna see some highlights, and he's gonna have a coming out party in the tournament. If he can get lanes, if any one of them can get lanes.
Yeah,
You saw Dante Scott; he got a lane yesterday. He threw it down.
well said.
Hakeem
Good.
Hart could throw
Yeah,
it
very
down.
good analysis. Well said. Yeah.
Jameer Young can throw it down. Julian, they all can throw it down. So I think we have 5 or 6 guys that can create for themselves. And if we can get Don Carey to
Mm-hmm.
shoot the ball well,
Good point. Yeah.
he takes some terrible shots, but those terrible shots look good when they go in.
Yeah, for
Dante
sure.
Scott has some of them too, where you're shooting, you're like,
Head
that's not a
scratchers.
good
Yeah.
shot, but he makes it.
Yeah. That's what skilled basketball players they do that at times. They get away with it when they have the hot hand. But let's so I think overall bottom line is I think there's a bit more slightly more reason for optimism than negativity regarding a deep run in March, but again, with a single elimination tournament, it's March Madness, so
Yeah, it's always
a lot of
madness,
variables at play.
right?
I feel like Willard's kind of like it, and I guess to hedge what I said earlier, it wasn't so much as a knock against Turgeon, whereas I feel like Willard can out strategize people, whereas Mark Turgeon wasn't out strategizing anyone.
Yeah, I think all those guys who come from, mid-major routes, they have to strategize well to beat teams because they don't have the talent. And you
Yeah,
saw a lot of that at
he's
Seton
proven
Hall.
it's proven that at Seton Hall is what I'm yeah.
I mean, he outcoached Turgeon twice with with way
With
worse talent. I mean, those were some
less
of our
talent,
best
yeah,
years.
for sure.
Those years with Kevin Herter and Bruno,
Yeah, I always had a
Aaron
healthy
Wiggins,
respect
and
for Willard as an X's and O's guy as Seton Hall, and hopefully that parlays into results for us in come springtime.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, I guess we'll transition to football talk now. So, what are you hearing about the combine? Well, we had a
So
nice guest listed for the combine.
yeah, 7, which is tied for third with Penn State in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
7 guys that will be,
very robust.
yeah, well, they all come from like one position. Dante Demas for Kim Jarrett,
Yeah,
Jacob
and
Copeland,
Jacob Copeland.
Jalen
Yeah,
Duncan, Jacorian Bennett, Deontay
yeah,
Banks, and Chad Ryland all were invited.
very solid.
Um,
You love to see those no offense to Chad Ryland, his selection is just as meritorious as the other ones, but you love to see like guys we've developed for multi years and um homegrown Maryland guys that we developed for multi years.
yeah, and most of them were, besides
The
Rakim,
Jalen Duncans, the Deontay Banks, the Rakim Jarrett's, the local guys.
yeah,
Demas is a local guy too, who's been with the program a
yeah,
while.
and those guys are epitome of being developed. They weren't, they were top 1,000 players,
Yeah,
but
they weren't.
they weren't.
They had upside,
Besides
but they weren't.
Rakim,
They're kind of overshooting where they were projected coming out of high school.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Now, I was surprised that Spencer Anderson wasn't invited. I think he has
Yeah,
day 3 easy potential, and as
potential for
many,
sure. Yes.
even day 2. I mean, he has the versatility from the center on to the on the right side of the line. He's played all those positions extensively
Yeah,
throughout his
he's
college
versatile
career.
and smart, and those are traits that allow you to succeed in the National Football League.
Yeah, and he's got great size too, 6'5". So
Yeah,
it definitely
he's a
did surprise
good
me that he
good
didn't get an
package for
invite.
a draft prospect. I believe. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and the Senior Bowl was also really, really good. Senior Bowls, I should say, were all
Yeah,
pretty solid for Maryland. With Jalen Duncan, he had one of the best weeks of all tackles
at the Senior Bowl.
in the
Yeah,
at the Senior Bowl. Didn't suit up to play the game, but I think that just kind of cemented how well he played. That he didn't feel the need to play because he put himself solidified himself in that round 1, round
yeah.
2
That's
category.
always a good sign. It's kind of a little backwards, but it makes sense and when you think about it, I guess that. But yeah, that's a good sign.
Yeah, Jacorian Bennett had a great week. He was one of the fastest players there. He had a couple
Yeah, Jacorian Bennett
tackles.
was making plays. Yeah,
he had a sack or a TFL. I don't know what they consider, a wide receiver pass to be. I would assume a sack, but
Yeah.
either way, he had made a nice play there, and he had the interception
Yeah,
to
the
seal the
interception
game
was
for
nice.
them.
The real signature play for Jacorian. Great job.
Yeah, and he caught it. That he's caught his last two interceptions at least.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that last year he didn't do at all, and he led the league in PBUs, but he probably could have led the league in interceptions if he just caught the ones that hit both of his hands,
You know,
which were a majority of
I'm
them.
higher on Jacorian Bennett at this stage than I was at for J.C. Jackson when J.C. Jackson came out of college, and look where J.C. Jackson is now.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Jacorian, he's gonna test really well. I think he will test himself in that round two, round
Yeah,
three. But who knows? I mean, Deontay Banks has flown up the draft boards,
yeah.
and he's
People love
almost
Deontay Banks this year.
a top five cornerback, and probably the deepest cornerback draft I've seen in a long time. I mean, that there are some names. If you're a team and you grab a fourth round cornerback, he could be a superstar for you.
Yeah,
It's a
Jacorian Bennett.
really
That's
good
why I made
draft.
the J.C. Jackson comparison is that he could be a great find that definitely out gives you day one value on day two or day three.
Right. And even Chad Ryland also had a great week. I mean, he was the main kicker for the national team. Went 4 or 5, only missing one for 52. I think
Yeah, can't
it
hold
looked
that
like it could
against
have
it.
been good from
I think
70.
Chad Ryland's going to be a pro for maybe not 20 years, but like
It's a kicker. I mean, kickers
he's
they
gonna
can
make some
last long.
he's gonna make some money as a professional, I believe.
Yeah, and his one miss from 52, I think it probably would have been good from 70. He just kicked it like knuckleballed it, and it wasn't good right or left.
Yeah, it happens.
Um,
So what do any recruiting news this week?
not any, not really, no.
Nothing.
Not
Yeah,
in terms of
obviously things have died down a little after signing day. So
yeah, it's we're gonna be in a little bit of a period where
few
it's kind of
offers went out,
quiet.
but none that particular. Few offers went out
Yeah,
this week, but
yeah,
nothing. No
we
one.
kind of went on a spree of offering out of state guys this week. I feel like the in state guys that we identified early on, we sent invite or
Mm-hmm.
offers out earlier, and now this kind of wave where they were all traveling
We
all
do
around, all the
such.
coaching staff.
Sorry to cut you off, but we do such a better job of just offering. Give the I don't want to call it. It means more than a token offer, but like offering guys that we don't have a good shot at from out of state. Just recruiting nationally that we just didn't do that like 10 years ago.
Well, there are some guys out of state that,
Yeah, but
if you read
we are
recruiting
recruiting
articles.
nationally, but like we're recruiting nationally, but like 10 years ago we were not like the volume of offers is just so much better, and I think that's a sign of vitality that when you're offering a lot a lot of players, not handing out offers, but like offering a lot of players that that kind of sounds nonsensical, but I mean something by that.
Yeah, I mean you gotta go far and wide. If you kind of close the gate, it kind of isolate the our area.
Kind of has to do
So
with like
it's
building
a
bridges
sign of
and just it's just
yeah
good.
disrespect to the national programs that and the guys on staff that have those relationships. So it's great that we're going out and we're trying to build a new market with California with the
Yeah,
USC schools, the Los Angeles schools coming in.
yeah.
We're trying to, we're sending out more offers. We're in it with a lot more guys that I
No, I
remember.
know, like, from the football recruiting side of things, I know a few kids from California in the class of 25, 26 who are, like, they like Maryland. I don't know if they're
Yeah,
offerable prospects yet, but they're good. They like Maryland from California, and they're good players.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think this season could be our boost into, now I wouldn't say stardom, I can't, but we could be looked at more favorably from kids all around the area.
The nation, yeah. So it's have a bit more of a shine to luster to the program for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so do you want to transition into non-revenues now?
Yeah. I got a bunch of non-revenue stuff.
Lacrosse had a solid opening day.
Yeah, that was a really, really good game. Richmond, I thought was on the rise. They
Yeah,
kind of just shot anything and everything. I don't even think most of their shots were on goal. They were like 3 or 4 for 42, which is
very
pretty bad.
erratic. Yeah,
Yeah, but our defense was great. Our offense,
we
I
looked like
obviously,
we looked the part. We looked the part of coming off perhaps the best season, or I'll say it, the best season that you've ever seen a lacrosse team play. We looked like a team reigning. We looked like the reigning national champions.
absolutely. I think we played a really good game.
Yeah,
Women's lacrosse starts this week. They are
very nice.
nationally ranked number 2.
They're always going
So,
to be Lady Terps. Always going to be in the mix. Go Lady Terps.
right. Softball starts this week. And, Maryland is a team that's on the rise, looking for their first, NCAA bid since 2012. And
Yeah,
they're bringing back a ton of their core, just like, I won't say a ton of their core for baseball, but baseball's bringing back some really,
yeah.
really good.
Baseball's going to make some noise too. They're 13th. They're top 15 by most publications.
Yeah, that they're in a prime spot to host a regional
We're gonna have a
and
great
maybe
base
even a
and
super
listeners.
regional.
We're gonna have a great baseball preview coming. It's just a matter of time. We had a not no the baseball team had to reschedule a game this week so that we were gonna do the baseball for those who didn't know, we were gonna do the baseball preview this week, but the guest had to back out. So we do have a really good baseball preview coming.
Gymnastics, I don't know nothing about gymnastics, but they are ranked in the top 25 nationally. So,
Yeah,
if you're on campus or even around this in the surrounding area, there is so much good college sports to watch in the
yeah, for
Maryland
sure.
at the University of Maryland. We're in a very
Did you mention the winter? Oh, we didn't go over the winter sports. We were just talking about the spring sports. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, I could go into women's basketball. I mean, they came off a very bad start against Iowa on the road. Caitlin Clark, obviously, is like the GOAT. She's great. She does turn the ball over a lot, but I
yeah,
guess when you're the whole offense there, then and then we had a great, incredible blowout win against Ohio State,
yeah. That
who
was
is
really
a really good
satisfying.
team. Yeah, great win. The big three, Cheyenne Sellers, Diamond Miller, Abby Myers, they just they're putting up like 75% of the points that we score in every game, and it's working.
Very
So we should
solid.
be
Yes,
a
the
solid team.
Lady Terps are going to be fun to watch in March.
Right. Wrestling, they're not doing too hot right now. They had
That's a
another
shame.
meet another meet where they kind of got blown out. But I think I mentioned
Say
in the
it every
past couple
week.
weeks
It's
has
tough
been
sledding in the Big Ten for wrestling.
very tough schedule the last couple weeks, and I think
It's
they
just
have a
every
couple.
week you're playing. It seems like every week you're playing a national power.
Right, but they have a couple of matches that they kind of be tune-up matches for the tourney, and so they just gotta they just gotta get their confidence back and you know try to right this ship. But I still think it's a really solid season, a really young team. Um, the future is still bright for the wrestling program, even if they're in the hardest conference for wrestling with
Yeah,
some
yeah.
really good
Well
teams.
said. Really good stuff. Yeah, the program is doing well.
Yeah, it really is.
All right. I guess. Will that wrap things up for the episode? I think so. Then we'll stay tuned, folks. We have a great interview with the Ratcliffe Thomas, who was a great Terp in the all ACC Terp in the '90s. Had several big led the team in tackles 3 years in a row. Went on to play for the Indianapolis Colts, made a Pro Bowl, and he is currently coach and community leader in the Northern Virginia area. So thank you, folks, for listening. And as
Yeah,
always, it's
and
a
it.
great week to be a Terp.
Yep. Go Terps.